So what is Ableton Live? Ableton Live is a digital audio workstation, also known as a DAW. Ableton is very fluid in its music creation process. Unlike most DAWs that strictly focus on one view, typically the arrangement view, Ableton has another view called Session View that allows you to quickly generate loops and ideas without the constraints of the timeline. Now let's get into the overview of Ableton Live. Hey everyone, I've got Ableton open, and this is its default opening state. It lands you right onto the session view, and I'm going to go into an overview of Ableton, just a real brief overview. This is not supposed to be a detailed overview, and I'm not going to give you information on every parameter. There's a million videos out there on Ableton. You can also reference the reference manual. Really what this series is about is just some tips and tricks and concepts to get you around the program and get you working rather quickly. And I also throw some gems of mine in there as well. So first things first, one thing I want you to pay attention to is down here at the bottom left is you're going to see the info view. And if you open this up, it's going to give you detailed information as you hover over different bits of the program. So if you're ever lost on something, I recommend you open this up and use this. So right here in the middle is going to be, like I said, the session view as well as the mixer. And this is probably the most important section of Ableton, is this middle window here, because in this middle, you can also toggle back and forth right here between the arrangement view and the session view, also known as clip view. And so you could also use your tab button to do that. So that's the two modes that Ableton works in. Most DAWs just focus on the arrangement timeline view, but the session view gives you a very unique way of working, a very fast way of working to sketch your ideas out, and then you can transfer that over to the arrangement view. This view is also used to play live, which I don't personally do, but people do use it for that. So at the top here, you have important parameters like your link or external sync switch. You have a tap tempo button, your tempo, your time signature, your metronome, and if you click this down, you have your metronome options, as well as your quantization menu. And this is for when you're playing back your clips. This is what it's going to snap to. You have your playback, stop, record, your arrangement position, various things like automation, overdubs, automation arming, re-enabling your automation. If you change something and you lose your automation, this will light up so you can turn it back on there. You have your session record button as well as capture MIDI button. And then you have your loop parameters as well as punch in and out, your loop on and off, punch in and out parameters here. There's some other unique tools up here like your draw mode switch, the computer MIDI keyboard, which is a very important one. If you don't have a MIDI keyboard, you can turn this on and use your computer keyboard to play some notes. Then you have your key mapping and MIDI mapping right here. So another important one here is your CPU load meter, as well as a CPU overload indicator. So that's a brief overview of the top. Like I said, I'm not going to go crazy in depth on this. This is not the purpose of this video to teach you how to use Ableton. If you want to learn, there's a million resources out there. But over here, you're going to have your browser. You can open this on and off. And this is going to be a very important area because this is where you're going to find all of your sounds, your instruments, your plugins, your third-party plugins. You can have your collections up here, which is basically a list of favorites. If you were to right-click on something, say in an instrument, and you want to add it to the collection, you could just click on that and it'll drop them into these collections. So I have a bunch of different favorites that I like to use. And then you have your different categories here, from sounds to drums, instruments, audio effects, MIDI effects, plugins, which are your third-party plugins, samples, your groove pools, and then you have a section below called Places, where you can store folders and locations on your computer's hard drives or your external hard drives for quick access. Very, very handy tool. I do usually have a lot of places here. I did clean it up for the purpose of this video a little bit, but I definitely recommend customizing this whole browser section. Right below that, you have your groove pool. So if you start adding swing and groove templates to your session, they'll all show up here. And then below this is your clip view or your audio view or your effects and instruments, whatever is active at the moment. So if you double click on a MIDI track, for example, it'll show you, and I don't have anything right now, but it'll show you, say, the instrument and any effects I have. If you were to double click on a clip, If it was audio, it'd show you the audio clip. If it was MIDI, it'd show you the piano roll, etc. And then, you have your tracks, your MIDI tracks, your sends and returns, your master fader. And then here you have some parameters to turn on and off different functions on the session view. And one of my favorites here, to be honest with you, is called track delay, which is not on by default. So turn that on, and then you can literally delay your track by milliseconds. So it's like kind of a custom little swing. So that's a great little tactic right there. And you could turn these on and off with the arrows. So like I said, this is not supposed to be a tutorial on Ableton as a whole, but more about the concepts. And this was a brief overview of the session view. And then, like I said, if you tab over here, now you're into arrangement view, and you have the same tracks. They're just laid out differently. And you have the option to turn things on and off as well. Same thing with the arrows, you can hide them. And this is your traditional timeline where it goes from left to right as you play back your track. And you can do your automation on this side. Right here, you have the option to turn all of that on. And so, yeah, Ableton is a cool program. It's very unique in the way that it functions, and I've had a lot of friends asking me about Ableton, so I thought it would be good to do a little series on it. In next week, we're going to discuss session view a bit more in depth, and then the following, we're going to get into the arrangement, and then we're going to talk about the preferences panel as well as the export. So I hope that helps you out, and if you have any questions, let us know. If you have any questions about Ableton Live, be sure to drop a comment down below. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and the bell notification will keep you up to date. Once again, my name is Freddie from Distinct Mastering, and have a great day.